Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Shazam bin Zainal. My student ID is 2032862752. A very good day to Mr. Dr. Raihan, Dr. Siti Raihan. Let's start this presentation with my part, which is introduction. So, what is the ozone layer and what is contained in ozone layer? So, in ozone layer, there are divided 5 layers, which is start with troposphere, second stratosphere, third mesosphere, followed by thermosphere, and lastly exosphere. So usually we found the ozone in the second layer, which is in stratosphere, and in this layer, in this stratosphere is the good ozone, while the ozone in troposphere is the bad layer. So the one we want uh, to examine is the ozone layer in stratosphere. Stratosphere is the 20 miles above the Earth's surface, and to explain the function of ozone, the function of ozone layer is to protect life on Earth by absorbing the harmful ultraviolet radiation around 97 to 99%. The absence of ozone layer will affect millions of people, so we need to take care of our ozone. So, what is the ozone layer depletion? Ozone layer depletion is the thinning of the ozone layer present in the stratosphere, whereas the chlorine and bromine atom destroy the ozone molecule when in contact with the ozone layer. So, in the ozone layer, there are 100,000 molecules of ozone atom can be destroyed by only one chlorine atom. This chlorine atom can be created from the compound which are known as ozone depleting substance that contain chlorine and bromine, such as chlorofluorocarbon, carbon tetrachloride, methyl bromine, methyl bromide, halogens, and hydrofluorocarbons. The atmosphere is introduced by these gases and chemicals causes from humans that have rapidly depleted the ozone layer in the last century. And because of that, the UV rays from the sun will affect skin cancer and the living of plants. So let's move on to the problem statement in this ozone depletion. Scientists has been predict the ozone destroyed by theoretical, and the result is the ozone in stratosphere was being destroyed more rapidly than produced until this recent year. But do not worry that scientists is able to test the accuracy of this depletion theories because of the advance in technology and the advanced use of satellite in development and improvement of ozone measurement. NASA used the satellite to know the global data that is accurate enough to identify what really causes and responsible for these long-term changes in the global distribution of ozone. Then, what is the objective of this ozone depletion study? So, the study is to make sure people around us be aware that the ozone layer has gone depleted since decade ago, and this situation may continue and become worse if people keep using tools or things that can produce harmful chemical. So what is where this harmful chemical can be produced? They can be produced from the tools like refrigerator and air conditioner. So people need to slow down the uses of that kind of harmful things. Next, the objective is want to help people understand the sources and impact from ozone depletion to make sure people are always be aware. Lastly, people need to know that the earth is no longer capable of sustaining life as the ozone layer is not protected at all, and this problem can be resolved if the issue and people work together as a team to prevent this problem. Right, let's move on to the sources of this ozone depletion. What sources that affect this ozone depletion? So the first sources of this ozone depletion is coming from the tools or activities that's also been done by human being. So the what kind of activity that human did that affect the ozone depletion? The activity is done is like use of freezers, air conditioner, and the propellant in spray bottles like aerosol, which are the daily routine needed for human. And we do not know that these activities can produce a very dangerous gas, which is a chlorofluorocarbon (CFC). This CFC is rarely contain a harmful compound like chlorine, fluorine, and carbons. These gases make a destructive reaction towards ozone particles that make them very harmful to ozone layer. And because of that, once the CFC is exposed to the ozone, the ultraviolet will break down the CFC into chlorine containing chemical. So the CFC then will evaporate fast and may quickly reach the stratosphere, deplete the ozone molecules as they are very volatile and non-combustible. Then the chlorine will react with oxygen atom in the atmosphere in the ozone molecule and breaking it apart. So the ozone molecule will be increased in the atmosphere. So the second sources of ozone depletion is coming from unregulated launches of rockets, and the impact to the ozone layer from the rocket launches is when the people start to concern. There are two types of rocket fuel that contribute to the ozone depletion, which is kerosene. This kerosene can be found in SpaceX Falcon 9 and Russia's Soyuz rocket. And from that, there are also parts that create compounds like alumina particle in the stratosphere. For example, a solid rocket booster. Now, the last sources of ozone depletion is the by nitrous oxide production. Do you know that the nitrous oxide is the 1/3 of worldwide emission that affect the ozone? The nitrous oxide is basically from the nitric oxide in the atmosphere, which is transformed to the nitrous oxides from the Earth's surface. The nitrous oxide is coming from the increasing usage of fertilizers, that's resulting the increase in the quantity of nitrous oxide in the stratosphere. Once the nitrous oxide is released to the atmosphere, the denitrification of anaerobic bacteria in the cellar during the bacterial breakdown of fertilizer will happen. Atomic oxygen produced by photolysis in the stratosphere interact with nitrous oxide to form nitric oxide, which subsequently react with ozone in the high stratosphere, then will lower the ozone level.
Hi everyone, I am Daniel, and today I'm going to talk about our assignment topic for EVT474, which is ozone depletion. So I'm going to explain about the effect of it. Okay, so firstly, in terms of health, ozone depletion have potential health that gonna affect on humans. So it's gonna including the DNA damage in the skin cell, genetic defects, skin cancer, sunburn, premature aging, damage to the eyes, outer tissue, and it's gonna weaken our immune system.
So ozone depletion can also lead to an increase in UVB radiation
that reach the Earth's surface. So basically, with the increase of the UVB radiation, our Earth's temperature is gonna increase a lot, and it's gonna bring a great impact to all the living things on Earth. So other than that, ozone depletion can also harm the environment by damaging plant tissue, reducing the photosynthesis, and accelerating the breakdown of synthetic polymer. So basically, it's gonna reduce the reproduction process of plants, and it's gonna give a big impact to our biodiversity. So it's not only plants in the biodiversity that gonna be affected by the ozone depletion. It's also gonna affect the animals by causing damage to early development stages, so such as the fish, disrupting phytoplankton productivity and limiting the food resources for marine species. So not only plants, animals gonna also get the side bad effect from this ozone depletion. So how we want to prevent all of that from happening? Okay, so right here, there are some prevention that can help us. Okay, firstly, is avoid buying and using aerosol spray that contain chlorofluorocarbon, which is CFC, and hydrochlorofluorocarbon, which is HCFC gases, as they are the contribute to the ozone depletion and climate change. So alternatives such as we can replace it with a refillable or pump spray container that we should be used. Okay, secondly, we can make investment in public transportation to reduce the CO2 emission and conserve energy. So increased use of public transport can reduce the number of single occupancy vehicle on the road. Thereby lowering the energy consumption and carbon dioxide emission. The expansion of public transportation coverage is necessary to accommodate population movement and reduce air pollution, which has several health implications. So not only that, the next prevention that I'm going to talk is about reducing the use of halogenated hydrocarbon fire extinguisher, which contain the bromine gas and cause ozone depletion. So researchers are exploring ways to convert halogens into valuable components for various applications, reducing the need to manufacture new halo contents product. And for the last one, environmental awareness campaign play a main role in raising awareness amongst the community about the importance for adopting this prevention. So individuals and communities can contribute to saving the ozone layer and mitigating the harmful effect of ozone depletion. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good day. My name is Akmadin Ibn Muhammad Yusof, and right now I will explain the regulation and guideline for ozone depletion. So the first one is Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer is a global agreement signed in 1987. It aims to phase out the production and use of substances that contribute to ozone depletion, including CFCs, HCFCs, halogens, and other ozone depleting substances (ODS). The protocol has been successful in reducing the production and consumption of ODS, resulting in significant recovery of the ozone layer. Okay, next is national legislation. Okay, many countries have enacted their own legislation to regulate the production, import, export, and use of ODS. These regulations typically align with the requirements of the Montreal Protocol but may also include stricter measures. For example, the US Clean Air Act amendments of 1990 regulates ODS, sets emission limits, and establishes programs for the phases out of ODS. Okay, the third one is production and consumption. The Montreal Protocol and national regulations often include mechanisms for controlling the production and consumption of ODS. This may include setting production caps, establishing quotas for ODS consumption, and licensing systems for manufacturers and importers. These controls aim to gradually reduce and eliminate to the use of ODS. Okay, the fourth one is technology transfer and assistance. The Montreal Protocol and related initiatives provide support to developing countries in phasing out ODS. This includes technology transfer, capacity building, and financial assistance to help these countries transition to ozone-friendly alternatives. Okay, the fifth is scientific research and monitoring. Okay, ongoing scientific research and monitoring of the ozone layer are critical for assessing the effectiveness of regulations and guidelines. Various international organizations, such as the United Nations Environment Programme and the World Meteorological Organization, coordinate research and monitoring efforts to provide accurate data on ozone depletion. In conclusion, the ozone depletion continues to be a serious environmental issue, but international cooperation and sensible policy changes have the ability to reduce and possibly reverse its consequences. Maintaining these efforts is essential to preserving the ozone layer and safeguarding the Earth for future generations, coupled with continuous research and public education. That's all from us. Thank you.